Hello, and welcome to another episode of Purlfect Pairings. My name is Gayann, she, her.
And my name's Nicole, and my pronouns are she and her.
Before we start today, we'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We acknowledge the often fraught relationship between Australian farming and Indigenous land rights. And we also acknowledge the incredible contribution of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people to the fiber arts community over the millennia.
So today we've got a big stash of FOs, finished objects.
I know, can you believe it?
We really have been ploughing. I mean, it doesn't feel like we've been ploughing through things, but we've definitely got a...
Yeah.
Might have just been a while between FO episodes, perhaps.
Maybe. We've been busy.
We have. In
Bendigo.
life and in knitting.
In life and in knitting. And with Bendigo.
True. Yes.
So go back and have a look at that episode as well, episode 16, to check out everything we've gotten up to. And we've got the Cal coming up, the Santa Sweater Cal. So make sure you follow us on Instagram.
In fact, as this episode goes live, we'll be starting the Santa Sweater Cal pretty much the next day or within a couple of days. So 12th of August, the Santa Sweater Cal kicks off. And look, it's just it's going to be a fun cal. There's 4 sweaters to choose from, catering for a range of
top down, bottom up, complex,
skill levels. Yeah. You can use any yarn you like, or jump onto Louie and Lola. She's got some kits available.
Yeah, Karina has put together some beautiful kits. So nab one if you can.
And we've allowed, what, 3 months to get it done? So there's no stress, because we don't need stress with our knitting.
No.
There's enough stress in life.
Totally. Totally.
And to participate, all you need to do is tag your knitting with hashtag Santa Sweater Cal on Instagram. There is an optional Facebook group if you like a social knit. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about Instagram tagging. Nice and simple to participate.
And I totally forgot we have prizes.
Oh, we do have prizes. We do have prizes.
We'll reveal those.
Probably on Instagram, just before the cal. We're still, at the time of filming this episode, just sorting out some finer details.
They're coming to us. They're on their way. So,
all right, shall we?
Yes.
Talk about some finished objects.
Yes. Let's talk about this because
it's on your lap.
It's on my lap, ready to go. And it's amazing.
This was, so Gayann wore this at Bendigo.
I did.
I will flag that we might occasionally have a little bit of contribution from our production assistant today, which is a different production assistant than our usual one, and probably a little bit more of an annoying production assistant, my little dog Ted. So, yeah.
He might make an appearance.
He's likely to.
All right. I had this on at Bendigo and I think it was quite a hit. I got a lot of compliments on it.
Yep.
But it is beautiful but massive. This is my Hireth shawl by Claire Walls, who is on Instagram as Flossy Knits. And look at this beauty. It just keeps going and going and going. It's really a schlanket.
It had such a lovely drape, because Bendigo was cool but not cold. So I don't think we were wearing jackets.
No.
But you were kind of just wearing this like a giant blanket.
Yeah. And I have recently seen on Instagram, Rastus Hugh had a beautiful shawl and he styled it. So maybe we'll make a little video of that as well.
Yes.
Because normally I kind of wear my shawls like this, right? Just a bit like that, and this hangs down. It's a bit. There's
a lot.
Is this shawl of substance?
It is a shawl of substance.
It's a DK weight yarn from Tardy. They're natural colored pole. It's 100% Polwarth in the color taupe. Let's see. The only modification I made was to slip the last stitch of this garter section here that's along the edge to create a bit of a smoother edge, which I think mirrors the other edges. And it's just so cozy. Actually, I might keep it on. It's like quite.
I think Ted might borrow it from you.
He likes it. Hello. So that's number one. Sorry. This shawl, I had the yarn for it, remember? And then I ran out. And then when we back in May at the Coburg yarn market, picked up another skein from Tom, and I knit that quite quickly because I really wanted to finish, and then realized that within like 2 days that I wasn't going to have enough yarn, right? So then Tom sent me the emergency skein. Thank you so much for that yarn support, Tom. And I wanted to show what I had left over from that skein.
Oh, gosh. It was yarn chicken. I remember this. You sent me a text message and said, I think I'm going to need another skein.
That's all that was left.
Oh my goodness.
From the last skein. So
you won.
I won at Yarn Chicken.
How many
for the first time ever?
6, 7?
6 or 7.
Yeah, it's a big shawl.
But it's fantastic, and it does what it needs to do. So I wanted something kind of quite big and cuddly to wear over suits, so I wouldn't have to wear a coat, and it works. So it's perfect.
While we're talking blanket shawls, I think probably a nice segue is to move on to this beauty.
Look at these bubbles.
Which is the Claire in Paris shawl by Susanna Cartnan,
yes.
Sanna & Co, our partner in Cal. And I was part of the test knit group for this. So you've seen it before. You've seen little bits, a little work in progress episode on this. And it was my first test knit, and a lot of fun, but it is just, look, it's not a complicated project, but it looks stylish. It's got some lovely stripes, and I wore this at Bendigo, and there were quite a few, we've had a few questions on Instagram and about what pattern this was. As part of the test knit, I did the bobble finish. Technically the bobbles, there would be double the amount of bobbles according to the pattern. I got permission from Susanna, given that the shawl, there was quite a lot going on because I used DK yarn. I should just flag that nice and early. The pattern is written for fingering weight, but Susanna was very keen to have some test knitters use alternative yarns, do some different sorts of things with it. She did ask me to do the bobble bind off, which I did, but it just, with the size of the shawl, there was going to be a lot of bobbles. So I asked, could I do every second bobble instead of every bobble? And that was actually one of the things that she was interested in trying as well. Oh, so excellent. It worked out really well. So bobble bind off, Claire in Paris shawl. Our beautiful friend Daniela from A Knitter's Suitcase has also made this shawl. She did the 3-colour version. So this is the, there are 2 versions. So Claire in Paris shawl, which is referring to Claire from Outlander, the season that she was in Paris. This is the Dior version, which is 2 colours and exactly the same pattern, but with a 3-colour version is called the Versailles, based on outfits that Claire was wearing in the show. Oh. So, yeah. So check out, we'll link to in the show notes to Daniela's episode where she shows off her Versailles version of the shawl as well. But highly recommend this pattern. Absolutely no modifications other than the bobble changes and the DK yarn, and yeah, it's a real joy. I love the interplay of the stripes and the direction changes. And,
Fantastic. Maybe I'll move on to my test knit, which is what I'm wearing. Sorry, I'll just unhook myself from that. The Stairway to Heaven vest by Jaime Creates. It's a test knit that I did for Jaime using Wool and Works merino, merino, Wool and Works chunky singles, that's it, which is 85% superwash merino and 20% nylon. I will stand up because the only modification I did, which again I got permission as well from JB, was I did an extra chart repeat to make it a bit longer, because otherwise it would have been quite cropped. Like
yeah,
here,
a lot
right?
of Jaime's stuff is cropped, I think. Yeah,
and I wanted it a little bit more, just a bit longer.
Yeah.
Which suits, but I love it over like your plain Oxford shirts for work, and you kind of tuck the tails out. That's looking really cute.
Yeah.
And it's very Barbie-core. So I've had this finished for a while now. And when I first got the color, I thought, whoa, it's bright, but I really love it. And then the Barbie movie came out, and I was like,
are you going to go and see the Barbie movie?
Probably not.
I've heard it's very good, but maybe. I mean, look, you have the outfit if you do decide.
I do. Let's see. The colorway is called San Fran Flowers.
It is,
and it's
the color really suits you. It suits your skin. It sort of works with your skin tones. And
when I initially saw it in the skein, I thought maybe that's too bright, but I've really enjoyed wearing it. Just makes me smile. So,
as clothing should do,
right? And it's cozy. It's warm. I think I could wear it with short sleeves. I could probably wear it with a singlet underneath when it gets
totally in summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not high summer.
Cozy.
Maybe not high.
The coziest tank that ever they're tanked.
But I love it. It's fabulous.
It's got lovely texture on it as well.
Really Jaime has a book coming out. So it's sorry, I should have said this earlier. There's a set of patterns that she'll be releasing as a book, which is very exciting.
Very exciting.
And they're fun, chunky, they're quick. It's a quick knit because it's that chunky yarn. And really fun. I've got to take some photos for her though at some point, which
we might do today.
Oh, there you go.
And should we move on to the matching accessory while we're...
How fabulous.
It's very pink. You look like you're about to hit the slopes.
I love it. I did wear them together. I was like, I wore a coat that day, but they're cozy. All right, the hats. The pattern, Lullaby hat by Marzyna Kolacek, who is a designer who actually is living in Sydney. My hat, again, is obviously this Wool and Works. I had a leftover skein from the vest. And then we were so lucky. We won a prize on Instagram.
Our first time.
Oh, it was fabulous. From Lovely Loops Designs. Thank you so much. And we won, part of the prize was this skein here, which is Obsession Yarn Chunky Merino Singles. It's a 100% superwash chunky. Both of the skeins, I think, were 70 meters in the 100 gram skein. And that colorway is called Fireside. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's perfect for Nicole. Like 100%. The hats took me about maybe 4 hours.
Okay, quite quick.
It was pretty quick.
Yep.
It was pretty quick. Oh, and part of our prize were these fantastic pom-poms.
Gorgeous pom-poms. So these are actually made by, is it Lovely Loops?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what they do. They're pom-pom makers, and these are, it's like wearing a soft toy on your head.
Oh, they're fabulous.
They're so
they're
fabulous.
Just beautiful and really easy to put on.
Yeah,
the hat
so
as well.
Gayann made these quite sort of last minute before Bendigo, and we had matching hats to wear to Bendigo, except I don't think you put yours on.
I didn't, it was a bit
It was a warm day.
It was warm.
But I was able to just tie them onto the hats in the car as we drove up. So that was very convenient.
It worked.
But yes, super, super, super cute.
And the pattern almost perfectly used up the whole skein. So I maybe had a meter left of each type, which was fantastic. And it's very comfy. It
is very comfy. Very comfy. I wore this all day at Bendigo. A few people recognised me because of the hat from our Instagram. One lady came up to me, she's like, I knew it was you because I saw that hat that you posted the day before.
That was really
in fact, I mean, I think even the pom-pom is like particularly distinctive. And that was posted as part of the Instagram. Yeah.
That was one of the really nice things about Bendigo, was getting to meet some of the viewers. So thanks so much if you were there and came up to us and had a chat. It was just really nice.
Yeah. Very fun day.
So these hats will also qualify for the hashtag 2023 Love Locale that's being put on by Louie and Lola Yarns, which is
and we've talked about that before. So Louie and Lola, who is again one of our cowl collaborators, she's got a cowl running all this year. So not only does our cowl, can you participate in our cowl for prizes, but when you finish your sweater, it will be eligible for the 2023 Love Locale with a K.
Yep.
Prizes every month for that one. So.
New Zealand or Australian based designer with New Zealand or Australian based yarn. So running all year. Plenty of time now. The other thing that I wanted to mention was Marzina, who obviously is Sydney based. She's having a catch up, trying to start some regular knitting catch ups I saw on Instagram. So go over and check her page out on Instagram if you're in Sydney, because
fabulous.
I think it would be amazing. She's got some beautiful designs.
Yeah.
And this one was free.
Oh, great. Love a free pattern.
Yeah.
Well, I should probably talk about what I'm wearing. So you've seen this a few times if you've watched some of our whip episodes. It was a whip for a fairly long time, but this is the Javelin sweater by Teti Lutsak, who is a Ukrainian knitwear designer. And it's knitted in Life in the Long Grass DK twist in the colour Autumn Leaves, which I purchased online from them last year. So Life in the Long Grass is an Irish indie dyer based in Cork, I think, in the southern part of Ireland. And this is, look, this was a really delightful knit. It's got this beautiful textured, I don't even know what you call it. There's a lot of twisted stitches. There's some cabling detail in the yoke, which it's then repeated on the sleeves and on the hem. I did make this, it was originally a cropped sweater and a little bit more boxy. Guess what, folks? I didn't do a gauge swatch. So, look, I think it's roughly size 2, but without gauge swatching. And I just adjusted as I went, as I do. And I'm very happy with how it fits. So, again, it's another reason why, no, I'm not going to say that. Some people might want to gauge swatch. It's another reason why it's another validation for why I never gauge swatch. So there we go. Yeah, it was a really fun pattern. I love the way it's turned out. Very comfy, lots of lovely detail.
And the yarns, the color's fabulous.
Yeah, yeah.
The variegation has come out really well.
Yeah. So I did helical knit as well because I was a little bit worried. I mean, the skeins I did all look very similar, but because it was such a variegated yarn, there were some patches that had like much larger creamy whitey patches on them. So I did helical knit, which was my first time, and found it really easy actually. I didn't helical knit in the tricky bits. I just did that with a single skein because I figured there was enough texture and detail going on that it wouldn't matter. But certainly when I got to the body, I did.
Outfit change. I also had this on at Bendigo, so if you saw me at Bendigo, you would have seen this beauty. It is the Syrian sweater. That's how I'm pronouncing it. It could be Syrian, maybe, by Kadri.
Syrian. French.
I know, if you've watched this for a while, you'll know my French pronunciations are very, very poor. So
slightly better than mine.
Anyway, I have knit this in one of the most beautiful yarns I think I've ever knit with. It's Fiber Naturally Alpaca Allure. It's an alpaca merino blend with sari silk. I'm not sure that you can see it in the as I'm wearing it, but we'll show
some close-ups of it. Yeah,
it is unbelievable. It's got these little flakes of color throughout the whole thing.
So it's kind of a tweedy look, but not as tufty as tweed.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's quite flat. I think the softness of this yarn rivals cashmere. And when you knit with it, it just knits so smoothly. It was just a fabulous experience. In terms of modifications, there's a modification written in the pattern to make the turtleneck a bit tighter, which I did. I just used a little bit of a smaller needle for that. It's a fairly standard raglan shaping, so I think it's also very beginner friendly.
Lovely.
And I think in terms of matching your yarn to the pattern, 100% spot on.
Yep.
For this.
Yeah. What was the yarn used in the original pattern?
Cashmere.
Okay.
A cashmere. And I haven't found a local one, although Gail has a blend, a cashmere blend now. So that's Fiber Naturally. And I think that's how about this? If you know of a Australian cashmere yarn, even a cashmere blend, maybe pop a comment in so we can investigate it.
That would be fantastic. Keeping the Fiber Naturally theme.
Oh yeah.
I have finally finished, and you've seen this a few times on a few WIP episodes, my Cinebar shawl by Andrea Mowry, and
it's glorious.
It is glorious. I love it.
Look at how the colours are coming up in the camera. I think it's so vibrant.
Fantastic. The sun has just popped out as well. So this is, look, it was a very fun shawl to knit. There was enough variation, so half of it is a alternating garter stitch. Garter.
All knits?
Yeah. No, not all knits. So some purling, but because you're using the two colours. So you've got a 2-colour brioche, and then you've got a variation of a garter stitch on the other side, again using 2 colours. And there's also the reverse side, which just gives you a slightly different look. So I think technically that's the right side, but you've really got two options.
Well, that's the beauty of brioche, isn't it? That it's reversible.
Yeah. And this is using Fiber Naturally. So Gail's, and we talked about it in the episode where we went to visit Gail. This is using her, so this is just 100% alpaca from a lovely alpaca called Regan, which is her old lady alpaca. This is one of Regan's clippings from a few years ago, 2013 I think. So it's a really dark kind of warm chocolatey brown 100% alpaca DK. And then we've also got a fingering weight variegated yarn, and I've just got lots of motion in the background because my partner's just got home, so Ted's made an appearance. And we've got a lovely variegated, not variegated, colour gradient.
That's right.
Colour gradient yarn from the Yarn Therapist in a Colourways sorbetia, and the Yarn Therapist is a beautiful Canadian indie dyer. So, loving it.
Such a fun project.
Very fun project. Yeah, a lot of things keep changing with the way that you're doing the stitches, so it just keeps it really vibrant and interesting and different as you go. So the only modification I made again was just to slip one with yarn in front on the edge stitch, just to give a slightly more even garter stitch edge. Well, I've got my partner settled. He stole some of the cookies we were eating earlier, and he's gone upstairs so that he's nice and quiet. Can't make the same promises for the dog. So we have one more finished object to talk about today.
How productive have we been?
I'm impressed with this. Is it just that we haven't done one of these for a while?
I think so.
Because we've been really busy.
I know.
With work, like insanely busy. So this is, it was a delightful little project. So this is a Pearl Soho scarf that I have entirely forgotten the name of, so it will be flashing up on your screen at the moment. Not very prepared. It's knitted in Bendigo Woolen Mills in their luxury range yarn, which is a DK, or they call it 8-ply, but it's a DK. It's kind of I guess a heavy DK weight yarn, and the colours are koala and yeah, and rose petal.
That like immediately makes me immediately want to go buy
some koala.
Yeah.
It's a lovely colour too. It's actually not unlike your
It's
Tandy.
quite close. Look at it.
Yeah. And so this is a gift for a friend of mine. Yeah, really lovely friend who has been admiring my knitting, and she said, I'd love a scarf made by you. So I sent her a few pattern suggestions. She picked this one, and then she said she wanted it in 2 colours. So the original scarf is a single colour scarf, and in doing 2 colours, I didn't want to have a line where I did the colour change. So I played around, and I'm quite proud of my little, I guess it's intarsia, really. My little,
fabulous.
Yeah. So it's got all these cables running through it. Yeah, I managed to work out a way of, without actually properly researching intarsia, I just made it up as I went along, but do a little colour change right next to the cable to kind of give it that 2-tone effect. So it's a pretty reasonably quick knit. The pattern's quite easy to follow. It's got this lovely kind of cable that gives it some interest without being too technical. And then it's just a really lovely garter stitch. So it was a very enjoyable project.
That yarn's quite soft.
It is soft. Yeah. It's so the Bendigo Woolen Mills, they have their classic, which is a little bit more textured. And then this is the luxury. It's a very affordable yarn. So yeah, a good option. This took, so I used probably, they come in 200-gram balls, so they're quite economical. It used, I reckon probably about 250 of the grey, and probably about 150 grams of the pink. So yeah, got a little bit of both left over. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, nice little project.
Well, I've been getting some yarny gifts, which is just unbelievable.
Particularly given that, and you haven't mentioned this on our Instagram,
Well,
but
no, because
are we going to call you out on it?
I don't know.
No.
Maybe,
Gayann has decided to try and reduce her yarn purchasing. Let's leave it at that.
well, I'm trying to reduce my yarn stash. I think
You're trying to knit it down a bit.
I am trying to knit it down. It's grown to a state where it's
If you've watched our episode on Bendigo, that was we both
we did very
supported the local industry in a very big way,
and we're able to exercise some of our creative juices for the future, right? An investment in our future happiness.
Correct.
But we'll see. I really want to just try and knit that down a bit to I guess get a better balance of what I'm actually producing and what is actually coming into my space. So, but I have some beautiful gifts that I got. A friend of mine came to visit us from Japan, and I thought, hey, do you live near this yarn shop? Because she lives in Tokyo, and Tokyo is a pretty big city, and I didn't know, like, I have no idea about the geography of Tokyo. I haven't like done any research about it, but I sent her the link to Walnut, and she goes, oh, I walk by that every day.
It was meant to be.
It's just like, oh. So evidently lives around the corner from Walnut. So I said, hey, do you think you could bring me a few things? And she did, which is fabulous. So the first thing was the latest Amory Sue magazine. And let me just quickly flick through this, because there's a couple of shawls in this magazine from Suzanne Summers, who is on Instagram as Sosu Knits.
I feel like I just saw one of Suzanne's as you were. So
yeah,
Suzanne Summers is, look, she is quite the brioche queen.
And I love brioche.
Is that one of hers?
It is, but it's not the one.
It's not the one.
Where did it go? Anyway, I'll find it in a minute. Here, maybe I'll let you flick through that while I show the yarn. It's actually the first time that I've ever, sorry about the crinkling, knit a pattern with the yarn that was specified in the pattern. And I'm super excited because it's also this gorgeous yarn that's produced by Walnut called Parade. And it's a really interesting blend. It's wool, cotton, silk, and linen that's both spun and dyed in Japan. There it is. That's it. And the colorways, I love it. They're all named after different cities. Oh. So this one is Dublin, and this one is Oslo. And I've got enough to make this small version, which I think is going to be big enough. After, you know, how many schlankets you really need. And probably more than one schlanket, I reckon.
You've already got 2 schlankets.
Anyway, this is going to be the most beautiful, beautiful shawl.
And is this exactly the same colorway as used in the pattern?
It is.
It is beautiful.
I'm so excited to knit it, and it's so soft. It's fingering weight. It's just going to be glorious.
Oh, it's lovely. The colour on that greeny one,
the Dublin,
I think it probably, it's actually looking okay in the camera. but it's kind of got this lovely kind of slight variegation between like a bluey green and a more greeny green.
And I think some of that is the fiber content, right? Because the wool will take dye differently than the linen does, and then the silk as well. So it's got quite a complex, even the white, it's got some, I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the camera, but
some more grey parts versus more,
the cream.
Gorgeous. So lovely.
Yeah. So that was my first yarn gift, which is amazing. And the second yarn gift came from this beautiful friend, and I was about to say I have no words, and I had to have no words. I'm just a little bit speechless about it. Like, I can't even describe.
It's a birthday gift, because Gayann's birthday is next week when we're filming, so.
And here it is. Do you want to help me hold it up?
Yes.
Look at this. 100% my colors. Like, unbelievable.
I call this my explorations in yarn dyeing.
I want to move that over the white so you can, because it's getting a bit lost against my sweater. Within, I don't know, 3 minutes of opening it, I think I said, I know what I'm going to make with that.
And what is your plan?
The So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry. I think this will be just glorious in it.
So this is a 4-ply fingering, technically a sock yarn. I think it's a merino, superwash merino nylon blend from a local Australian mill. I purchased it from the undyed yarn from Nundle Woolen Mills.
Yeah.
And then I think I've mentioned before, I've been doing some dyeing of some yarn for a local community group that raises money for women and children's charities, or fundraising for women's and children's charities and support programs. And I'm loving dyeing, so I decided that, and I love a handmade gift, and there's no point knitting something for Gayann. So I decided to have a bit of a play around, and I really got to play with some colour here. So,
oh, look at that set. That's going to be an incredible sweater. And now the only question is whether I cast that on now or if I wait to the next Andrea Mowry cow.
Decisions.
I know. We have the EXP coming up, so I'll be
knitting
on that.
With cows for a while.
Yep.
All right, shall we talk? Is it pairing time of day?
I think it's pairing. I think it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
All right, so today's pairing, I'll tell the story of this one. So this is an Australian small batch gin from Envy Distillery. It's called Envy because the names of the owners are Nathan and Vanessa, so N and V. And this is actually, so I judged at the Heathcote Wine Show this week. And this was a lovely gift from the Heathcote Wine Growers Association to say thank you for judging. But really looking forward to trying it. So being an Australian gin, it's got a little bit of some different sort of botanicals in it. They actually come from a neighbourhood garden. So the distillery is based in Newport, which is in the kind of south, right near the, are we calling it the Bay? I don't know what it's called. The southern part of Melbourne, where there are some nice beaches. Well, not nice beaches. There's some water. I'm a Queenslander, so if you're familiar with Australian beaches, the beaches along the east coast of Australia are those really classic Australian beaches, whereas the Melbourne beaches are...
well, they're different.
They're different.
And I consider myself, in Australia, I can kind of consider myself from Perth.
Yep.
And there's incredible beaches there.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a very nice area of Melbourne.
It is.
Regardless of the quality of their beaches. But the botanicals in this are kaffir lime, cardamom, and citrus, herbs and spices as well. So sounds like a really quirky little blend. Yeah, looking forward to trying it.
I love a bit of kaffir lime.
Celebrate some FOs. All right. Well, quite the episode.
I know. Who knew? We had so many finished objects.
We'll have to do another whips one soon.
I know. Well, if you enjoyed the show, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps to grow the reach of it so that we can highlight more of the Australian wool industry and producers to the rest of the world. Show everybody how amazing we have it here.
Absolutely. We love your comments. So please let us know what you liked about this episode. Let us know what you would like to see more of. Just a reminder that our cowl has either just started or is about to start when you're watching this.
Yes.
So on the 12th of August, 2023, just in case you're watching this retrospectively, we've got the Santa sweater cowl. So Susanna Cartnan's 4 sweaters. And it's just it's a lovely inclusive cowl. The patterns are all size inclusive as well. And we would love to have you join us. So check out our special episode on that. All you have to do though, if you're making one of the patterns, is tag it on Instagram. We really want to see what you're making. And yeah, we would love to have some international people involved as well. So
really fun to share that and to share the wealth of Australian talent with the rest of the world.
Absolutely. All right.
Should we jump into that, Jen?
I think it's a good idea.
All right. Until next time, happy knitting.